Genesis 44. Then he commanded the one over his household, saying, fill the men's sacks with as much food as they are able to carry, and put money in the opening of each man's sack. Put my cup, the silver cup, in the opening of the sack, so the youngest along with his grain money. So he did as Joseph told him. When the morning dawned, the men were sent off, they and their donkeys. They left the city and did not get far, when Joseph said to the one over his household, get up, go after the men. When you catch up to them, say to them, why have you repaid evil for good? Isn't this the one from which my Lord drinks? He even uses it especially to discern by divination what you've done is evil. So he caught up to them and spoke these words to them. Then they said to him, why does my Lord say such things? Far be it from your servants to do such things as this. Look, the money we found in the opening of our bags we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. So how could we steal silver or gold from your Lord's house? Whoever among your servants is found with it, let him die, and will also be my Lord's slaves. Even now let it be according to your words, he said. The one with whom it is found shall be my slave, but the rest of you shall be innocent. Then each man quickly lowered his sack to the ground, and each man opened his sack. He searched them, beginning with the eldest and finishing with the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore their clothing, and each one loaded up his donkey, and they returned to the city. When Judah and his brothers entered Joseph's house, he was still there. They fell to the ground before him. What's this deed you've done? Joseph said to them. Didn't you know that a man like me can discern by divination? Then Judah said, what can we say to my Lord? What can we speak? How can we justify ourselves? God has exposed your servant's guilt. We are now my Lord's slaves, both we as well as the one in whose hand the cup was found. But he said, far be it from me to do this. The one whose hand the cup was found, he will be my slave. But you, go up to the Father in peace. Then Judah approached him and said, I beg your pardon, my lord. Please let your servant say a word in my lord's ears, and don't be angry with your servant, since you are like Pharaoh. My lord asked his servant, saying, do you have a father or a brother? So he said to my lord, we have a father who is old, a child born to him of old age is young. Now his brother is dead, so he is the only one of his mother's children left, and his father loves him. Then you said to your servants, bring him down to me so that I can look at him. But we said to my lord, the boy cannot leave his father. If he were to leave his father, he would die. Then you said to your servants, unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you won't see my face again. Now when we went up to your servant my father, we told him my lord's words. Then our father said, go back, buy us a little grain for food. So we said, we won't go down unless we have our youngest brother with us. Then we'll go down, for we won't see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us. Then your servant, my father, said to us, you yourselves know that my wife bore me 2 sons. One went out from me. So I said, he must have been torn to shreds, and I haven't seen him since. And if you also take this one away from me before an accident happens to him, then you'll bring my gray hair down to the evil of Sheol. Now if I come to your servant, my father, and the boy isn't with us, since his life is bound to his life, when he sees that the boy is no more, he'll die. Then your servants will bring the gray hair of your servant, our father, down to Sheol in grief. For your servant became pledge for the boy with my father, saying, if I don't bring him back to you, I will bear the blame before my father all my days. So now please let your servants remain as my lord's slave in this boy's place, and let the boy go up with his brothers. For how can I go up to my father, and the boy is not with me? Else I must see that the evil would come upon my father. Chapter 45. Now Joseph could no longer restrain himself in front of all those who were standing by him. So he cried out, get everyone away from me. So no one stood with him, when Joseph made himself known to his brothers. But he gave his voice to weeping, so that the Egyptians heard, and Pharaoh's household heard. Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? And his brothers were unable to answer him, because they were terrified at his presence. Then Joseph said to his brothers, please come near me. So they came near. I'm Joseph, your brother, the one you sold to Egypt, he said. So now don't be grieved, and don't be angry in your own eyes that you sold me here, since it was for your preserving life that God sent me here before you. For there has been 2 years of famine in the land, and there will be 5 more years, yet with no plowing or harvesting. But God sent me ahead of you to ensure a remnant in the land, so to keep you alive from a great escape. So now it wasn't you. You didn't send me here, but God, and he made me as a father to Pharaoh, Lord over his whole house, and the ruler over the entire land of Egypt. Go up quickly to my father and say to him, 'Thus says your son Joseph, God has made me lord over all Egypt. Come down to me, don't delay. Then you'll live in the land of Goshen and be close to me, you and your children and your children's children, your flocks and your cattle and everything that belongs to you. I'll provide food for you there, for the famine will last another 5 years. Otherwise you'll lose everything, you and your household and everything that belongs to you. And look, you and my brother Benjamin can see with your own eyes that its mouth is speaking, that it's my mouth speaking to you. You must tell my father about all my honor in Egypt, and about all you've seen, and you must quickly bring my father down here.' Then he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, while Benjamin wept upon his neck. And he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. Finally, after this, his brothers talked with him. When the commotion was heard in Pharaoh's house, 'Joseph's brothers have come. It was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and his servants.' So Pharaoh said to Joseph, 'Say to your brothers, do this, load your animals and go to the land of Canaan. Then get your father, your households, and come to me. I'll give you the best land of Egypt, and you will eat the fat of the land.' You are also commanded to say, 'Do this, take for yourselves wagons from the land of Egypt for your little children and for your wives, and pick up your father and come. Don't be concerned about your goods, because the best of all the land of Egypt is yours.' So the sons of Israel did so. Joseph gave them carts by Pharaoh's command, and he gave them provisions for the journey. To each of them he gave a change of clothes, while to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 sets of clothes. Also to his father he sent the following 10 donkeys carrying from the best of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys carrying grain and food and provisions for his father's journey. Then he sent his brothers off, and as they departed he said to them, 'Don't be anxious on the way.' Then they went up from Egypt and came to the land of Canaan to Jacob their father. They told him, saying, 'Joseph is alive, and he is ruler of the whole land of Egypt.' His heart went numb, for he did not believe them. But he told them all of Joseph's words that he had told them. When he saw the wagon that Joseph had sent to pick him up, the spirit of their father was revived. Then Israel said, 'Enough, my son Joseph is still alive. I must go and see him before I die.'" Chapter 46. So Israel set out along with everything that belonged to him. When he came to Beersheba, he offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. In visions of the night, God said to Israel, "Jacob, Jacob." "Hineni," he said, "I am God, the God of your father." He said, "Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will return to you into a great nation there. I myself will go down with you to Egypt, and I myself will also most certainly bring you up. Joseph will put his hands in your eyes." Then Jacob arose from Beersheba, and Israel's sons carried Jacob their father, their little children, and their wives in the carts that Pharaoh had sent to carry him. They also took their livestock and their possessions that they had acquired in the land of Canaan, and they came to Egypt. Jacob and all his offspring with him, his sons and his grandsons with him, his daughters and his granddaughters, and all offspring he brought with him to Egypt. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel who came to Egypt: Jacob and his sons, Jacob's firstborn, Reuben and Reuben's sons, Hanak, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Simeon's son, Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zochar, and Shaul, the son of the Canaanite woman. Levi's sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Joseph's sons, Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah. Died along with Onan in the land of Canaan. Perez's sons were Hezron and Hamul. Issachar's sons, Tola, Puva, Lob, and Shimron. Zebulun's sons, Sered, Elan, Jahleel. These are Leah's sons, with whom she bore to Jacob in Padan Aram, along with his daughter Dinah. The tally of all his sons and daughters was 33 people. Gad's sons, Ziphion, Haggai, Shuni, Esban, Eri, Arodi, and Areli. Asher's sons, Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, Beriah, and Sarah, their sister. Beriah's son, Heber, and Malchiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah his daughter. She bore those to Jacob, 16 people. The son of Jacob's wife Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. Manasseh and Ephraim were born to Joseph in the land of Egypt. Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, before them to him. Benjamin's sons, Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Muppin, Hupin, and Ard. These are Rachel's sons, who were born to Jacob. The tally of all the people was 14. The sons of Dan, Hushim, Naphtali's sons, Yakzeel, Guni, Yezer, and Shilem. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rachel his daughter, and she bore these to Jacob. The tally of all the people was 7. All the people belonging to Jacob who came to Egypt, those coming from his loins, not counting the wives of Jacob's sons. The tally of all the people was 66. The sons of Joseph were born to him in Egypt was the tally of 2 people. The tally of all the people belonging to Jacob's house who came to Egypt was 70. Now he sent Judah before him to Joseph to show the way to Goshen. When they came to the land of Goshen, Joseph harnessed his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Israel. As soon as he appeared before him, he fell upon his neck and wept on his neck for some time. Then Israel said to Joseph at the time, I am ready to die after seeing your face in person, for you are still alive. Oh, excuse me. Then Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, all go up and tell Pharaoh and say to him, my brothers and my father's household who were in the land of Canaan have come to me. The men are shepherds, for they have been men who handle livestock, who have brought their flocks and cattle and everything that they possess. So when Pharaoh calls you and says, what is your occupation? You must say, your servants have been men who handle livestock since the time of our youth until now, both we and our fathers, so that you can live in the land of Goshen, because every shepherd is loathsome to the Egyptians. 47. Then Joseph came and informed Pharaoh, my father and my brothers and their flocks and their cattle and everything that belongs to them have come from the land of Canaan. And behold, they are in the land of Goshen. From among his brothers he took 5 men and presented them before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to his brothers, what is your occupation? So they said to Pharaoh, your servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers. Then they said to Pharaoh, we came to dwell temporarily in the land, since there is no pasture for the flocks that belong to your servants. For the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. So now, please, let your servants live in the land of Goshen. Pharaoh said to Joseph, saying, your father and your brothers came to you. The land of Egypt is before you. Settle our father and your brother in the best part of the land. Let them live in the land of Goshen. If you know of any capable men among them, make them overseers of the livestock over those that are mine. Then Joseph brought his father Jacob and presented him before Pharaoh, and Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Pharaoh asked Jacob, how many days are the years of your life? Jacob said to Pharaoh, the days of the years of my sojourn are 130 years. Few and evil have made the days of the years have been the days and the years of my life. Moreover, the days of the years of my life have not attained the days of the years of the lives of my fathers and the days of their sojourn. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from Pharaoh's presence. Joseph settled his father and his brothers and gave them property in the land of Egypt, in the best part of the land, in the land of Ramses, just as Pharaoh commanded. And Joseph supported his father and his brothers and his father's entire household with food for the mouths of the little ones. Now there was no food in all the land, because the famine was very severe. Both the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. Joseph collected all the money that he could be found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the grain that they bought, and Joseph brought money into Pharaoh's house. And then the money of the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan ran out, and all of Egypt came to Joseph, saying, give us food, why should we die in front of you, because the money is gone? Joseph said, give your livestock, and I'll give it to you for your livestock if the money is gone. So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them food in exchange for horses, flocks of sheep, for herds of cattle, and for donkeys. He provided them with food in exchange for all their livestock that year. When the year came to an end, they came to him in the second year and said to him, we don't hide from my lord that the money has run out, and the livestock and the domestic animals are my lord's. There is nothing left in my lord's sight except our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your eyes with we and our land? We'll become Pharaoh's slaves. Provide seed so that we may live and not die, and the land won't be deserted. So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh because of the Egyptians. Each one sold his field, for the famine overcame them. Thus the land became Pharaoh's. He made the people slaves from one end of Egypt's border to the other. Only he did not buy the land belonging to the priests, because the priests had an allotment from Pharaoh, and they ate their allotment that Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, behold, I have brought you and your land today for Pharaoh. Here is the seed for you, so that you can sow the land. During the harvest you must give a 5th part to Pharaoh, and 4/5 will be for you, for the seed, for the field, and for your food, and for those in your houses, and for the food for your little ones. You've saved our lives, they said. We'll find favor in the eyes of my Lord, and we'll be Pharaoh's slaves. So Joseph set it as a statute until this very day concerning the land of Egypt. A 5th part goes to Pharaoh. Only the priest's land did not become Pharaoh's. Meanwhile, Israel settled in the land of Egypt, and the land of Goshen acquired property in it, and were fruitful and multiplied greatly. Now Jacob lived in the land of Egypt for 17 years. So the days of Jacob, the years of his life, were 147 years. At the time of Israel's death drew near. He called for his son Joseph and said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, please put your hand under my thigh and show me faithful kindness. Please do not bury me in Egypt. When I lie down with my fathers, you must carry me out of Egypt and bury me in their burial place. So he said, I myself will do according to your word. Swear to me, he said. So he swore to him. Then Israel bowed down and worshipped on the head of his staff. Chapter 48. After these things, someone told Joseph, "Behold, your father is sick." So he took his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, with him. When someone told Jacob, saying, "Behold, your son Joseph has come to you," Israel summoned his strength and sat up in the bed. Then Jacob said to Joseph, "El Shaddai appeared to me in Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. He said to me, I am going to make you fruitful and multiply you and turn you into an assembly of people, and I will give this land to your seed after you as an everlasting possession. So now your 2 sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt, they are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be mine, just like Reuben and Simeon. Any descendant of yours whom your father after them will be yours. They will be identified by the names of their brothers for their inheritance. Now as for me, when I came from Padan, my sorrow Rachel died along the way in the land of Canaan while we were still a distance from entering Ephrath, and I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. When Israel saw Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? Joseph said to his father, They are my sons whom God has given me. Then he said, Please bring them to me so I may bless them. Now Israel's eyes has grown heavy with old age, he could not see, so he brought them near to him, and he kissed them and hugged them. Then Israel said to Joseph, To see your face I didn't expect, and look, God has let me see your offspring as well. Then Joseph took them from his knees and bowed with his face down to the ground. Then Joseph took the 2 of them, Ephraim with his right hand across from Israel's left, and Manasseh with his left hand across from Israel's right, and brought them close to him. But Israel stretched out his hand and placed it upon Ephraim's head, though he was younger, and left his hand upon Manasseh's head, crossing his hands, though Manasseh was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph and said, The God before whom my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, walked, the God who has helped shepherd me throughout my life to this day, the angel who redeemed me from all evil, may he bless the boys, and they be called by my name, and by the name of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac. May they multiply to a multitude in the midst of the land. When Joseph saw that his father had placed his right hand upon Ephraim's head, it was wrong in his eyes. So he took a hold of his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. Joseph said to his father, Not like that, my father, because the firstborn, put your right hand upon his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He will also become like people, and he will become great. But his younger brother will always become greater than he, and his seed will be the fullness of the nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, In you shall Israel blessed by saying, May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. Then he put Ephraim before Manasseh. Then Israel said to Joseph, Look, I am about to die, but God will be with you and will bring you back to the land of your fathers. Now I myself give you 1 portion more than your brothers, that which I took from the hand of the Amorites with my sword and my bow.